like 10 years, and then you're going to get bored, and your wife isn't going to be able to please you, and she's going to let herself go after kids, and her kids are going to be more important, and then the husband is going to be left out, and so he's either going to start watching porn constantly, or he's going to go out and cheat, and that's just what everybody does, and so you have to be okay with it, because that's what marriage looks like. And that sucks, because why would anybody want to aspire to get married or have a committed relationship?
Well, and layer on top of that, you've got a divorce rate approaching 50% in most states. So, there's a number of groups out there. And, the porn issue is so complicated because you've got, on one hand, the sex positive community talking about the freedom of sexuality for people to find the different niches that interest them, gives them a place for healthy expression. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the feminist.
Those are really tied in together.
You've got those two splits in the feminist camp. One is where porn is empowering. One is where it's clearly disempowering. So how do you reconcile some of that stuff? Because I consider you open, progressive, and a feminist, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
so how do you tie all those two together?
Well, okay, it's such a good question, because I really had to sit with this. And I think if I had never dated someone who had a serious porn addiction coupled with his manic, unregulated bipolar, I probably would have said, everybody should have the freedom to do whatever they want. If you want to watch porn, I'm not going to stop you. It is very empowering, this freedom to choose. And I still stand by the fact that I would never work to completely eradicate porn, because I do feel like freedom of speech is so important, even though I hate porn. So that's very, very hard for me to reconcile with. But I will say now, after, there is a lot of people in porn who made the choice to do it. But the problem is we don't know who that is. We don't know the women in these videos who are choosing it and who are forced to do it. And trust me, I've watched your interview with
Jesse Rogers.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. There's so many things.
Well, it's that issue of consent.
Or who have chosen to do it and then say, you know what? This is now uncomfortable. I don't like this.
No,
and there can be...
Or had no other options.
The lines of consent are
There's economic coercion
blurred.
just as much as there's physical coercion. And the average lifespan, I read this statistic, and when I talked to porn star Jesse Rogers, and if those of you out there who haven't seen that powerful interview that I did, Jesse Rogers was a famous porn star. She left the industry and talked about her abuse and how she reconciled in herself doing some of those things that we're talking about right now. That was her niche, that violent, aggressive pornography, and the impact that had on her as a human being. You can check that out on our YouTube channel, The Mindful Habit. But the average lifespan for a young star, and they don't even call them stars anymore. In the industry, they're referred to as porn girls.
6 months.
Is like 6 months versus 3 years, a number of years ago. So you're seeing kind of a life cycle, and you're seeing the commoditization of our sexuality with the different niches, and just really the business is entirely for profit. I have a problem with that.
I have to say that aside from the abuse, aside from like the coercion and the abuse and the drugs and stuff that happens within porn, my biggest issue is just what it is teaching the guys and the girls that we're dating. That's it. The message is just influencing people in a way that is so shitty, because that's not how real sex is. And when you have to have sex like that, when you have to have sex like that, and your boyfriend is asking you to bark like a dog and is like spitting on you and doing just disgusting things, that's when you have to take a step back and be like, I'm not fine with how this is impacting my sex life. And
this connection, this union, whatever it might look like, isn't enriching you, isn't making you better, isn't making the connection deeper.
Between the two people,
even if it's not to that extreme, right? Because not everybody might be exhibiting it in that way. But if you are, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but if there should be a beautiful place of consent, and this is what I like, this is what a place to compromise.
Absolutely.
But I think we need to redefine our sexuality, redefine healthy sexuality, fun in sexuality, connection, intimacy. But we all, I think as a society, need to start redefining healthy sexuality.
And consent. So, because I can
that's
tell
part
you,
of healthy sexuality.
Exactly.
That is the biggest part of healthy sexuality.
I can tell you that I was never asked if I was okay to do half the stuff that I had to do in my last relationship. It was just expected. And I'm not saying that there was no like physical forced sex, but there also, let's just get that out of the way, but there also wasn't, hey, are you comfortable with me sitting on your face? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think you're so right. I think there has to be a complete radical redefinition and relearning experience about what like just normal, happy, healthy, good sex looks like.
So, and you're so right. Now, you coming on this show, what did you want to, what is for you like you wanted to be here? What do you want to tell people?
What's
your message?
I want people in my position to know that you're not crazy. It's okay to be upset if the person you're with is struggling in that area because they're choosing porn over you. It's
and you're talking to your friends right now. I just want to put this in perspective because your friends are going to listen. You've got a active following on Twitter. You're very popular on Facebook with your buddies. They're going to see this. So what message do you have for them, for the young women that you're talking to kind of even bring a little more specific to what Michelle said? What is your message for your friends who are listening and saying, what is Lexi doing?
To be okay with what you want with your sex. And if that is not what your partner wants, it's okay to say, I'm not comfortable with this. I don't like it. And I want to try something else. And you don't have to change like what you're comfortable with sexually to keep your partner happy. And if you're not happy with something, you can use your voice to say it. I spent 4 years being petrified of being open with my ex-boyfriend because I thought that it was going to ruin our relationship. And I look back and I just think there were so many wasted opportunities in time where I could have just said, I hate what we're doing. I'm not happy. It's ruining my life and it's ruining my emotional and mental health. And I want to sit down and talk about how we can change it. And so I just think that if you're out there and you feel like there are signs that your partner is watching excessive amounts of porn or doing stuff that you're not comfortable with, just, you can say something. It's okay.
Open up to dialogue. And Lexi, we want you back. This was a great interview. Thank you so much for coming.
You're very brave.
It's not like you're not.
Seriously.
Yeah, no. To be able to talk about this and to elevate this dialogue for all of us is so important. I want to commend your bravery. Thank you for coming on. Look forward to having you on again. And so grateful for your openness and honesty.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
We'll catch you on the flip side. Love you all. Thanks for listening. Check us out at themindfulhabit.com. If you need help, get it. That's what I'm here for. We have an online program and some very powerful one-on-one coaching. So if you are struggling to control your sexuality, please, please, please reach out and do not suffer in silence.
Well, I'm not.
Sorry. Yes, that was a wonderful little broadcast there. And you can tell, it's not just me. You can tell that host wants to pound that girl like every porno movie he has ever seen, can't you? Oh, yeah, you can. Well, hey, don't go anywhere. Coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern, we got coffee and cigarettes rolling out. Your Tuesday Espresso for today, the 26th of May, 2015. Don't be going anywhere. But before we roll that up, here's a special election 2016 message just for you.
Hi, I'm Gil Fulbright. The people that run my campaign, they've made this commercial, and I'm in it. This campaign, it's not about me. It's about crafting a version of me that'll appeal to you. A version that visits random work sites with paid actors pointing at things. A version of me that doesn't find old people loathsome or pointless. Has a conventionally attractive yet curiously still family. listening to my constituents, legislating, these are things I don't do. What I do is spend about 70% of my time raising funds for re-election. I'd do anything to stay in office. My name's Gil Fulbright, but hell, I'll change my name to Phil Goldbright or Bill Fulbright or fill up my mouth with farts. These are the things that are important to me. And these are the fine people that finance my campaign. Now, in order to do these things, I have to stay in office. And to stay in office, I have to keep these guys happy. Now, if any of these things make these guys unhappy, well, my hands are tied. So come November, the choice is clear. You want another spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? Or a spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? I'm Fill Up My Mouth with Farts, and I approve this message.
You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.
You know you do. That's right. Let's get that late night music going there. Everybody's talking, hey, you should have replaced Letterman. Yeah, I could have, but I don't have the teeth for it. Well, hey, it's 3 p.m. Eastern. Do you know where your coffee cup is? Because, hey, it's time for Coffee and Cigarettes, the Tuesday Espresso on HTLA Radio 1, New York's Best Talk. Yes, it is. And, hey, have I ever let you down? Huh? I bring the radio gold every day, and just recently I've started sharing with you some snippets of other fine internet radio offerings out there that you could be listening rather than to us. And I think I've made my case. I think there's no fear of losing all of our listeners, or even one. I don't think that's going to happen. Well, what is going to happen today? All kinds of things are going to happen today. Yes. Got a big show for you today. All kinds of news. That's right. Today in the big show, got a lot going on today, in fact. The first grandmother of a child found dead on a swing. Well, she speaks out as the Supreme Court considers redefining one person, one vote. How odd. Really? One person, one vote? Seems pretty logical to us. Well, hey, also today, Texas man has been charged with supporting ISIS. Yeah, that's kind of strange, but there it is. And we got the Obama news. Obama pledges federal help for the Texas flood victims. Hey, it's only money, right? We'll just print more, he says. And we've, got new Ebola news, an Ebola-type outbreak in New Jersey, and even insecure people posting on Facebook. All that and so much more today on the show. So, hey, come on in and grab a cup. Have a seat and indeed light one up, ladies and gentlemen. It is coffee time. That's right. Good afternoon and welcome to the show today. Coffee and Cigarettes for, again, the 26th of May, 2015. 3:03 in the afternoon right now in New York City, and it's a beautiful, stunning day out there. Gotta say today. It's almost like summer. Yeah, summer. 86 right now in the Central Park. Not too many people complaining about that, I'll tell you. And a few clouds kicking around, nothing really to worry about. So we won't. Yeah. Well, pushing the buttons and making the show go today for us on the big show is, of course, the one, the only Jenny McCartney, not to be confused with that 42-year-old woman, Jenny McCarthy, of Playboy fame. Yes, and she's pushing the buttons on that 2442 digital mixer from PreSonus. Yes, for everything audio and professional and digital. Indeed, you want to go check out PreSonus.com. Also, this show today, is brought to you by the fine folks Now, Tim Hortons, New York City, now with 8 fine locations in that city to serve your coffee and baked goods needs. Yeah, if there's one thing I know, it's Tim Hortons is always fresh. Well, let's see. Joining us on the show today, of course, as always, we have our lovely guest/co-hosts. Yes, the men who come on here and, well, make stuff work somehow with some strange element as yet unknown on any periodic table. The first of the guest/co-hosts, of course, is the one, the only Louis Lawless. Yes, filmmaker extraordinaire. Academy Award nominated Up the Yin Yang for many, many motion pictures, as well as, I do have to say, some Emmy nominations for some television shows. Yes, some that you may remember from yesteryear. Shows like Riptide, Magnum P.I., and, of course, the one, the only A-Team. Yes, well, we've got the man himself coming to us live from Mill Bay Studios all the way up in Mill Bay, British Columbia, Canada. Louis, are you there today?
We're 5 steps away from winning the Academy Award.
I know.
And we did.
That's right, but it's okay. You did the work. You've done the work. You've made the accomplishments. Your programming and films are loved by many, and I don't know what else I could say to make you feel better.
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
Of course you can. That's not a problem.
Which woman are you married to or living with now? The same one? The mother of the daughter, or was it a boy?
Yeah, none of that matters, Louis. We're actually live on the air now.
It's just life, and I love doing it. I love doing these kind of stories anyway.
Well, good.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
All right. Well, I'm trying to move on, but you just keep talking, so I'll just move on now. Thank you. Also joining us from about 8 blocks down the street from HTLA Studio 2 in downtown Manhattan is the one, the only Gilbert Gottfried, coming to us live from his sprawling, spacious apartment. I'm not even going to call it an apartment anymore. It's a bloody mansion in the sky, is what that is.
What the fuck?
Well, it is.
I'm ready.
Well, and good. I'm glad to have you here. All that good stuff. I see you're in your usual spirits.
Yes.
Yeah.
We hugged in the elevator.
Yep.
And I still have an erection.
Well, as always, it's good to have you here, my friend.
Yes.
And thank you. I can't say thank you anymore.
Yes.
And also join us this afternoon, because I still don't have a proper replacement. As the one, the only George Takei, coming to us from his lovely home in Mill Bay. No, he's not in Mill Bay. No. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm stuck on that Louis thing.
Yes.
Well, George, how are you today? Thanks for being here, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm George Takei, and when I'm walking down the street, people shout out, "Hey, Sulu!" So I'm known more as Sulu than as George Takei,
right?
Which is what I really am.
Oh, are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Well, actually, what shaped my life is what happened to all Japanese Americans during the Second World War.
Yes.
Pearl Harbor was bombed, and overnight, American citizens of Japanese ancestry were looked at with suspicion and fear and outright hatred, simply because we happened to look like the people that bombed Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
and we were put in barbed wire American prison camps.
Right.
They called them internment camps, but they were really, for all rights and purposes, concentration camps.
Sure, we're going to cut you off right there. Okay, we're going to.
You are a douchebag.
I know.
Yes.
Well, that's okay. All we really want to know is, did you ever get it on with Bill Shatner? Yeah. That's all we want to know.
Do you think I'm sexually aroused by Mr. Shatner?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I did not sleep with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. Glad to have you here, George. Thank you.
I think it's a treat to be here talking with you.
Of course you do. Yeah?
Yes.
So now that our guest / co-hosts are firmly glued to the floor.
Yes.
Wow, delayed reaction there, George. Come on.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
Right, okay. So moving on today, we're going to move on with the stories and actually get to them, in 10 minutes instead of 20. Yeah. But actually, no, Jenny's bouncing again, so that means, of course, that we do have to go with Gilbert's promotion for the new movie, Problem Child.
Yes.
So, Gilbert, take it away.
Na 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 na, ba ma 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 ma. Oh yeah. Who wants to grow up? Who wants responsibility? Oh no, not me. Who wants to show up and work until you're 93? Now everybody says you're running wild. The teacher's calling you a problem. Ooh.
In the land of the or the home of the free or whatever, you know. I swear that's like the anthem of the show now.
Yeah.
Well, moving on today, what is the first story up for bids here on the old story is right? What is
just life, and I love doing it. I love doing these kind of stories anyway.
Well, so do we, and here's your shot.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't blow it, Louie. Yeah. Well, the Supreme Court today has to consider redefining, quote, one person, one vote principle. Yes, that's the big news today.
Yeah.
Yes, the Supreme Court agreed today to decide whether state legislative districts must have roughly equal numbers of legal voters rather than overall populations. The case was filed by voters in Texas who claim that their ballots carry less weight than those voters in state Senate districts who include large numbers of illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
Yes, while the Constitution is intended to protect the principle of one person, one vote, what remains unclear is whether districts must be apportioned based on the number of residents per the number of legal voters. And, I've always had a problem with this.
Yes.
And this whole system, these electoral votes. Well, some of them count for 2,500 people. Some of them count for 60,000. Some of them, some of them might, it's a swinger state, so we're gonna swing through there and get a couple of 100 million more votes, and it just doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
It doesn't, and when it comes to that whole thing about all these volunteers and stuff counting votes. How the hell can they count that? I don't know how you. Well, in states such as Texas, Arizona, and California, where the number of illegal immigrants varies from one district to the next, drawing districts based in total population means that voters in one district will have less clout than those in the next. In the Texas case, for instance, Sue Evanwell's mostly rural district has about 584,000 citizens eligible to vote, while a neighboring urban district has only 372,000. As a result, voters in the urban district have more sway to influence the outcome. Well, yeah, but I would submit that, 90% of them don't even turn out to vote, so what's the problem? Well, a federal district court in Texas ruled that the state's legislature's use of total population could not be appealed. But as far back as 2001, at least one justice, Clarence Thomas, to be, specific.
Yes.
Had said that the issue should be reviewed by the Supreme Court. The two voters challenging the state Senate maps climbed in their petition to the High Court in that theory. The legislature could have put one voter in each of the 30 Senate districts and all the state's other voters into the 31st. Such a plan would have trouble meeting other requirements such as geographic contiguity and democratic process. Well, we'll just take this whole area here and we'll give that one vote.
Yes.
Yeah, and Well, the organization behind the challenge, the Project on Fair Representation, also was the brainchild of major Supreme Court cases challenging minority preferences. Among them, Fisher v. University of Texas, challenging the use of affirmative action policies in college admissions, and Shelby County, Alabama versus Holder, challenging a major section of the Voting Rights Act. The challengers were backed by half a dozen conservative and libertarian groups, an unusually large number for a case that had yet to be granted by the High Court, but it appears that they've been pretty persuasive. Texas responded that the justices have never required legislative districts be drawn based on the number of voters rather than the total population. Multiple precedents from this court confirm that total population is a permissible apportionment based under the Equal Protection Clause, the state said. The case will be taken up during the court's next term, which begins, no worries, next October. Well, we can't rush these things.
Yes.
We can't...
They get crazy because all of a sudden nobody loves them.
Well, there is that. Yeah, I guess that probably you could say that. Yeah. Wow. I don't know. What do you think, Crash? Well, it could be. Could be.
Oh, my God, he's becoming black. I like it. Do a little rap or two.
No, Louis, talking to myself is not becoming black. No, it's just... It's just kind of bordering on that street person hobo thing.
Yes.
That's what it is. Well, in other news in Texas, a Texas man has been charged with supporting ISIS. Yes, a Texas man has been charged by federal authorities in an alleged conspiracy to aid the Islamic State terror group by assisting a friend's travel to Syria and unsuccessfully attempting the same journey himself to join the group's ranks. Okay, now this is where it gets funny. Now, I don't know about you all, or I guess I should say y'all.
Yes.
No, I don't know about you guys, but, my kind of idea of Texas, of course, what the hell do I know? I'm from the west coast of Canada, but... my kind of idea of Texas has always been, the good white upstanding cowboys.
Yes.
Yeah, the good old boys, the Billy, the Bobby, the Jack, all those good cowboy names.
Yes.
And, when you get a story like, Texas man is involved in some ISIS thing, it's kind of surprising.
Yes.
Because, you're thinking, what's Jack and Joe and Bobby doing with it, messing around with them boys?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Well, it's not quite Crash's kind of Texas anymore. It's just not. It's a sad day when I have to report that there is somebody in Texas with the name of Asher Abid Khan. Louis L'Amour is rolling over in his grave right now. Yes, he is. Yeah, so this Texas boy, Asher Abid Khan, is 20 years old, apparently of Spring, Texas.
Yes.
Well, he was arrested today after making it as far as Istanbul, a well-traveled staging area for foreign fighters seeking entry into Syria.
Yes.
Well, according to federal prosecutors, he was duped into returning to Texas when his family sent the suspect a false information about his mother's health. Filthy lying pigs. Well, Khan is expected to make an initial court appearance in Houston today. The suspect and a friend allegedly planned their travel to Syria through Turkey to join the fight on behalf of ISIL, federal prosecutors allege. Quote, "I want to join ISIL. Can you help?" End quote. Khan allegedly asked a Turkish-based ISIL contact. There you go. Well, Khan's associate was able to enter Syria with the assistance of Khan and the ISIL contact. The FBI learned of Khan's plans, and agents searched his friend's Facebook account. Yes, that will get him. Well, it shouldn't, because, in my brain, the terrorists should be smarter than that. At least as smart as they were in Schwarzenegger's movie True Lies. Come on. I mean, that pillars of holy fire each week until our demands were met was sure brilliance. Yes. Yes, so after combing the Facebook account, the friend identified in court papers as SRG, and that's not Sarah Riley Girling. Or Sean Ripley Granger.
Yes.
No. Allegedly posted pictures of himself with, get this, military-style weapons. Well, if convicted, the little bastard faces. Little pecker faces, 15 years in federal prison and a $250,000 fine. That's right. So that's what we're doing, and that's what we're going on right there. That's not going to stand for that in Texas. Come on. It's not just me, being the stupid West Coast Canadian kid thinking that Texas is like that. I mean, God, look at King of the Hill, for God's sake. Oh, now granted, yes, true. They do have a little character in that show named Khan. Fine. But isn't he like Hindi or something? Yeah, he's I don't know. But one thing I do know is, of course, we have to go for our first commercial break. So have no fear. When we come back, we'll tell you about that child who died in a swing seat and the grandmother who's having none of it. Back in 2.
You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.
What if there was a coffee that was sourced from some of the world's most renowned growing regions? Abundant with rich, fertile soil. What if this coffee was picked at the perfect moment, then packed meticulously and shipped carefully to be roasted under the watchful eye of coffee masters? What if it was expertly blended, ground, and sealed, ensuring maximum flavor and freshness, then brewed in small batches and always served fresh within 20 minutes, just the way you like it? Now, what if this coffee just happened to be the coffee you already know and love? Tim Hortons. Always fresh. Always great tasting coffee.
Man, I've been to a lot of places over these past 50 years. Seen the whole true north strong and free. 'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Cooksville, Stouffville, Baynesville, Bowmanville, Bonnieville, Unionville, Oakville, Dunville, Brockville, Boucherville, Melville, Drummondville, Kentville, Grenville, Morinville, Maryville, Parksville, Stephenville, Sackville, Spring Hill, Westville, Walkerville, hanging on a windowsill. Hey! He said, wow, that's a lot of places. I said, hang on, there's more. I've been to Moncton, Picton, Shannon, Vernon, Stellarton, Hamilton, Nipigon, Nobleton, Yorkton, Brighton, Bolton, Beaverton, Brandon, Edmonton, Walkerton, Wyerton, Granby, Miramichi, Charlottetown, Burnaby, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, Corner Brook, none of it. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I crossed the prairies bare, man. I breathed the mountain air. I've traveled, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere, man. Check it out. Ottawa, Wawa, Mattawa, Chippewa, Moose Jaw, Oshawa.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights, superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop-up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I've been so inspired by being in New York because everything from what people are wearing on the street to the way they're interacting with each other, to drive through the West Village at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slicked back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl face and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out of style. We never go out of style. Take me out.
There's only one place to get more Taylor.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
We hugged in the elevator, and I still have an erection. Now, I remember sitting next to you on a plane.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was flying out to L.A. to audition for some movie that I didn't get, which was fine, because I remember I was reading the script, and you said to me, you said, what are you reading?
Yeah.
And I said, it's some John Travolta comedy.
I'm George Takei.
Called The Experts.
Yeah.
And it's about two young hip Americans who get kidnapped by Russian spies to teach them how to act like young hip Americans.
Right.
And you, being a fortune teller, said, that sounds like a piece of shit.
Yeah. It's all kinds of fun and games, isn't it? It's just it's just something. But hey, you know what? Who cares? It doesn't matter. None of it matters because we're back and it's time to get serious. Yes, it is. Well, good afternoon. Welcome back to Coffee and Cigarettes, HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk, of course, bringing it to you here live, Studio 2 at 3:29 in the p.m. in New York City, where it is still 85 degrees in Central Park, and I just don't know what the hell we're doing in here. I don't know. Well, I guess, I got to be nice because, of course, George is in California where it's, 120.
Yes.
And, he could be out there just enjoying himself,
Bullshitters, never keep your mouth shut, always hustling, always looking for something to do and putting things together.
There you
that's
go.
American. Look how they took the country away from England.
Yes, England again, yes. You can never quite go wrong with England, I don't think. No, England is the grand poobah thing.
Yes.
Yes, so getting back to the damn show, for God's sake.
Yes.
We bring you the story about the grandmother of the child who was found dead on a swing, speaking out. Yes, she is. She's speaking out today at La Plata, Maryland. The grandmother of a 3-year-old boy found dead at the Maryland playground last week said her daughter would never do anything to hurt her son. On Friday, Charles County, Maryland police found Roshima Sims swinging her deceased son for what investigators says was an unusual amount of time at a La Plata playground. Sims is facing no immediate charges in connection with the incident and is being treated at a local hospital. Family members identified the boy as Jair Lee. Sims' mother, Vanasha Sims, said her 24-year-old daughter wouldn't harm her grandson. Romicia would never harm my grandson in any type of way, you know. I just believe she had some type of mental illness. Yes. Some type of mental break that came upon her where she wasn't able to get herself out of the situation, says Vantasha Sims. Vantasha Sims, 47, claims her daughter was diagnosed with a mental illness about 3 months ago and had been seeking help up until police discovered her with her son at Willis Memorial Park. I wonder if they know you can't actually get help at the park.
Yes.
I don't know. Well, the park is about a mile away from the hotel where the family was living. That's great, you little sick bastards. What are you doing laughing at that tragedy? What the hell? And he calls me a douchebag.
Yes.
Yes, so Vanasha Sims said they were homeless and that Romicia suffered depression trying to deal with this while still taking care of her son. I don't want people to look down upon her. I want people to use the situation as an opportunity to grow, much like we did in Ferguson, Missouri. Yes, grow and learn from it. Like I said, help your neighbor. If you suffer from mental issues and you need help, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody, Vantasha Sims said.
Yeah.
Well, an autopsy of Jair has been conducted. However, Diane Richardson, a spokeswoman for the Charles County Sheriff's Office, said the findings are incomplete because they are still waiting on toxicology reports and other information to come in, as they suspect the child was a wino. Well, the police will not comment on whether mental illness played a role. The man believed to be Jair's father declined to comment on the situation as he was 2/5 into his ripple. Oh, but hey, according to GoFundMe pages set up to help the family, there may have been a recent custody battle for the boy. A GoFundMe page reads, quote, Donnell Lee has been trying to get sole physical custody of his son Jair since March 2015, but was failed by the court system. Due to tragic, unforeseen circumstances, Jair passed away in the morning of Friday, May 22nd, end quote. Richardson said police are still putting together a timeline in the events before the boy's death. Quote, this is a top priority for us. This is a 3-year-old boy that's deceased. We don't know the cause of death. There are no obvious signs of trauma, but he is deceased, and our detectives are working around the clock trying to put the information together to answer the question as to how this child died. And, of course, I guess we'll be looking at probably tomorrow afternoon for the toxicology back on the Ripple. And you just can't go wrong with Ripple toxicology.
Yes.
You just can't. You just can't.
I remember being on your radio show in Chicago.
Yeah, what you were. It was.
Yeah, and I remember we hung out afterwards and had a wild time.
Well, I like to treat my guests right, you know. And yes, I do realize that does mean that I would have to, take George into the alley.
Yes. And I remember, too, when we were in the alleyway, pants zipped up, there was this one, sleazy-looking guy who walked by, who was staring at us, and you turned around, and, he was What? What's your problem? And you said, you don't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah.
Was there? There's. Oh, come on! There's more to the damn story.
Yes.
Yes. Now, I'll give it to them. Don't keep them in suspense.
Yeah. and another time, you were gonna buy drugs from your pusher, and you were like a block away.
Of course.
And then somebody walked up to your pusher first.
Right.
And shot your pusher.
Well, yes, they did, and it was a sad day.
Yes.
We didn't have to wait for toxicology to come back there, did we?
Yeah.
No, but it's all good because I ended up getting my drugs and. And that's really what you wanted to hear.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, moving on today, of course, we've got as we usually do, although none of the stories have ever really meant anything. We of course have the obligatory Obama news today.
Yes.
Yes. Well, today, Obama is pledging federal help, of course, for Texas flood victims. I guess he doesn't know we're $618 trillion in the hole. Well, he pledged federal help today for search and rescue efforts associated with the extreme flooding in Texas. Quote, I will anticipate that there will be some significant requests made to Washington, Obama said after speaking with Texas Governor Greg Abbott. My pledge to him is that we will expedite those requests. Obama noted that the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA as we like to call it. Well, FEMA personnel stand already on the ground in Texas, and they will work with state authorities to fill up those millions of plastic coffins. Finally, he says, I assured Governor Abbott that he could count on the help of the federal government, Obama said. Oh, and that just takes me back to 2007, doesn't it? Yes, it's time for change, America. All right, quit, wipe that smirk off your damn face. We're getting... We're getting straight here, damn it. We've got a really important story, maybe the most important story we've ever told here. No, Gilbert, I'm serious. It might be the most important story we've ever told here.
Yes.
Okay, so shut up and listen.
Yes.
All right. Well, hitting right home here across the water, a New Jersey patient dies of an Ebola-like Lassa fever. Well, of course, after a Liberia trip. Dumbass! Yes, a man has died in New Jersey today of Lassa fever, a disease similar to Ebola, after traveling to Liberia, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Health officials say the risk to the public is extremely low because Lassa fever doesn't spread easily. The death rate for Lassa fever is 1% compared to the 70% mortality rate seen in Ebola patients, the CDC said. Of course, they're going to tell us that before the... It's right before the zombie apocalypse. Yes, that's... Well, diagnose it, doctors. Yes. Doctors diagnosed the patient, whose name was not released Monday. He had traveled from Liberia through Morocco, landing in New York's JFK International Airport on May 17th. He did not have a fever when he left Liberia and did not really report any symptoms of Lassa fever, which include diarrhea, vomiting, or bleeding during his flight, the CDC said. The man whose temperature was taken when he arrived in the USA also did not have a fever at the airport, the CDC said. Officials began screening passengers for Ebola-like symptoms at 5 U.S. airports last fall. The man went into hospital in New Jersey on May 18th with symptoms of a sore throat, fever, and tiredness. Oh, God, we're all going to die. Yeah, that's it. According to the hospital, he was asked about his travel history and did not mention going to West Africa. No. Have you been to West Africa? No, I have not. So the hospital took the man at his lie.
Yes.
And, of course, sent him home the same day. The man returned to the hospital on Thursday with a change of story. Yes, when his symptoms got worse, the CDC said a hospital staff transferred the man to a treatment center prepared to treat viral hemorrhagic fevers. The man, of course, tested positive for Lassa fever early Monday morning, but did not test positive for Ebola. The patient was an, quote, appropriate isolation at the hospital when he died Monday evening, the CDC said. Like Ebola, Lassa is a viral hemorrhagic fever, meaning that it can cause hemorrhaging, says Robert Murphy, director of the Center for Global Health at Northwestern University in Chicago. Lassa fever is common in West Africa and can cause similar symptoms as Ebola. Only about 20% of people with Lassa fever develop symptoms. Pregnant women are particularly at risk from the virus, and their fetuses usually die. Travelers have been diagnosed with Lassa fever several times in recent years, and the disease has never spread beyond the initial patient, says Amish Adija, senior associate at the Center for Health and Security at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. Doesn't anybody have American names anymore? Where's, I don't know, Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Where's... how about some Dr. Walker?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, I don't know. Jesus, Jim Beam. Hell, I'd really be happy with a Dr. Jack Daniels.
Yes.
I really would. Well, in West Africa, the Lassa virus is carried by rodents and spreads to people through contact with urine or animal droppings. In rare cases, it can be spread from person to person through direct contact with a sick person's blood or bodily fluids, or through sexual contact, according to the CDC. The virus doesn't spread through the usual contact, and doctors don't think that patients were contagious before they developed symptoms. About 100 to 300,000 cases of Lassa fever and 5,000 deaths related to Lassa fever occur in West Africa every single year. It really is a tourist mecca.
Yes.
Yes. There's one place I want to be going. It's West Africa.
Yeah.
Well, an antiviral drug called ribavirin can treat Lassa fever if given in the first few days. Scientists are also developing a vaccine, Murphy said. During the recent Ebola epidemic in West Africa, some of the patients suspected of Ebola actually had Lassa fever and malaria, Murphy said. The CDC staff are working with local health officials in New Jersey to create a list of people who had contact with the patient. Health officials will monitor for 21 days anyone who had close contact with the man. And it's not suspected to turn out to be anything, so never mind. This was not the most important story ever. There you go. I can be wrong.
Yes.
It's about fucking time. Move on. All
right. Well. Yeah. Okay. I guess I got to. We can't go for another bloody commercial.
Break for a commercial.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you remember those a couple of months ago, Gilbert? I know you were here for it. Actually, I think George, when he was here on his month and a half stint on the show, he was actually here for this. Guys, I think you were both here for this. Remember those free-range parents we talked about? Those ones that let their kids, walk a couple of blocks and go to the park and play outside by themselves?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they, of course, were taken to task in court, of course.
Yes.
And, today the news from Silver Spring, Maryland on them is the free-range parents have been cleared of child neglect in one case, anyway. Yeah, that Maryland couple who had been investigated for letting their minor children walk home alone or off to the playground have been cleared of child neglect in one of the cases against them. Child Protective Services has ruled out neglect against Daniel and Alexander Mediev, also allowed their 10 and 6-year-old children to walk unsupervised from Spring Hill Park. The Metievs' free-range parenting style has been a topic of much debate. Legal representatives for the couple says Montgomery County's Child Protective Services has changed its initial decision from unsubstantiated That's six syllables. You got to give me a break.
Yes.
They've changed that initial decision from unsubstantiated neglect to, quote, ruled out in an investigation stemming from a December 20th incident in which their son Rafi, 10, and daughter Dvora, 6, were detained by police when returning home from a park. The agency came to that decision in February, which would allow the agency to keep a file on the family for at least, oh, well, this is nice, 5 years. Be nice if we kept Nazis on a list for that long. The couple had appealed the decision. That was the second time the agency had investigated the family for allowing their children to walk alone in their suburban Washington neighborhood. The investigation began in October when the children were playing together in the park. In the December incident, a Child Protective Services employee threatened to immediately remove Rafi and Dvora from their home unless the father agreed to an imposed safety plan, representatives said. On Tuesday, lawyers for the Metievs say the couple is pleased with the new decision, but concerned that Child Protective Services policy leaves a cloud over their family and many others. Yeah, that would be that whole 5-year thing. That's what that would be exactly.
Yes.
Well, in a written statement today, Danielle Metiev said, quote, "This ruling confirms that we never exposed our children to a substantial risk of harm. Although we welcome the decision, we are concerned that CPS's misguided policy remains intact. We fear that our family and other Maryland families will be subject to further investigations and frightening police detentions simply because our and their children have been taught how to walk safely in their neighborhood, including to and from school and local parks." A third investigation, stemming from an April incident in which the children were seized by police and then detained for hours before being returned to their parents, is still pending. Maryland law prohibits children younger than the age of 8 from being unattended in a dwelling or a car, but of course, as we mentioned before, makes no reference to the outdoors. A person must be at least 13 years old to supervise a child younger than 8. And that's all there is. Well, that's all there is. That's all there is. But hey, we've still got some good bits of the show to go here yet.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, as yesterday's traffic report for Coffee and Cigarettes went off so successfully.
Yes.
Of course, we'll be bringing that to you again. Of course, as we mentioned yesterday, of course,
yes.
Memorial Day, our regular traffic copter man, Chad Armstrong, was, of course, out with his family and whatnot on the Memorial Day holidays.
Yes.
And so because, so many people have accused us of, all the fun we play about black people on this show, accused us of racism. We, of course, went out and, I guess we hired ourselves a black man.
Yes.
Yes, we did. We did, and his name is Brooke Favor, and he's live with the traffic update for Coffee and Cigarettes. You take it away, Brock.
Hello, everybody out there. This is Brock Favors with Traffic on the Ones. Chad Armstrong is out sick today, so I am filling in for my usual land reports, and I'm up here at the chopper. But I gotta tell you guys, I am loving the view. Oh my God! Oh! No! Stop! Oh! Whoo! All right. Well, we are over the 10, and it's massively clogged down there like a pint of maple syrup on a cool November morning. And we do. Oh! Goddamn! We gonna die in this mother. Oh my God! Woo! Okay, I am very sorry, folks. It's a little bit of a bumpy ride up here. We are now approaching the 405, where the left lane is blocked by a mattress. So somebody is going to be doing a little return to IKEA later today. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no, please! Oh, goddamn! Oh, get me out this motherfucking death machine right now! Oh, no, black people ain't meant to be in the sky! We ain't meant to be in the sky, man! But a 405 is up right now. Ain't nobody going down this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, folks. I'm very sorry, but I'm losing my up here.
Actually, you have every right to. We're about to crash.
Oh, that's the good stuff right there. Of course, our condolences go out to Brock Faber's family. Yes. Well, moving on this afternoon, of course, we do have more.
Yes.
Yes, don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial.
Yes.
Maryland students have been accused of releasing, get this, 72,000 ladybugs at school. Yes. Yeah, not even kidding. 72,000. In Morganza, Maryland, several high school students have been charged with burglary after they allegedly released tens of thousands of ladybugs across their school as part of a senior's prank. The high school is located an hour outside of Washington, D.C. at St. Mary's County, Maryland. According to the St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office, 5 students broke into Chopticon High School at 3:40 a.m. Wednesday by forcing the door open. Once they were inside, the students released approximately 72,000 ladybugs into the school. While investigating, authorities identified 7 suspects, including 2 who waited in the car while the others went inside the school. The investigation also found one of the students ordered the ladybugs off the internet. Yes, you can buy 72,000 bugs off the internet. Now, 4 juvenile male suspects were charged: 4th-degree burglary, property destruction under $1,000, and disruption of school activities. The remaining 3 suspects, all adult males, will be charged by criminal summons. That really bugs me. Well, no, it does. It's just, the thought that the kids would do that to their own school.
Yes.
The school, the place that's actually teaching them not to be assholes like this, Well, in New York today, authorities are searching for a phone caller or callers whose anonymous threats against several transatlantic passenger flights have led the U.S. officials to send Air Force fighter jets to escort one of the jetliners to JFK Airport. The claims of chemical weapons or bombs aboard at least 6 flights turned out to be baseless Monday, but the inability to quickly contact Air France Flight 22 from Paris led officials to scramble 2 F-15s out of an abundance of caution, the FBI said. Meanwhile, at least 5 other intercontinental flights were checked out and cleared upon arrival at Kennedy and Newark airports. There were no incidents or hazards reported on the board and by the flight, either by the passengers or its crew, according to a statement by the Bureau. Maryland State Police reported receiving an anonymous call about 6:30 in the morning Monday at the McHenry Barracks in the western part of the state. The report was referred to the FBI. It was unclear why U.S. authorities were not immediately able to contact the Air France flight, the New York Post reports. The effort was impeded by the observance of Whit Monday, or Pentecost Monday, a French holiday. The other arriving flights that were inspected included 2 at Kennedy, a Saudi flight from Saudi Arabia. You don't say. Wow. You never know where those Saudi flights are from, I've seen Saudi flights in Holland,
Yes.
You just never know. We've got to be extra vigilant and cautious.
Yeah.
And And, of course, an American Airlines flight from Birmingham, England. Oh, see, that's suspicious. What's an American Airlines doing in England? See? And, of course, 3 at Newark, a Delta flight from London, a United flight from Edinburgh, and a United flight from Madrid. Aviation experts say such anonymous threats are not uncommon, although they don't usually involve so many aircraft at once. Several passengers aboard the Air France flight say that they were shaken. Quote, no one knew what was going on, says Yassi Adias, a 31-year-old Israeli, telling the New York Daily News. Everyone was afraid. He was referring mostly to the search. The Air Force jets stayed behind the Airbus A330 to avoid panicking its passengers. Well, that's good. I'm glad they did that. Of course, the missiles streaking by the window might have... Oh, but what am I saying? They didn't fire.
Yes.
Just my wishful thinking. That's what that is. Yeah. Well, you know, if it's going to be a goddamn adventure movie, make it good. Well, I guess, I guess so. We're there, people. We are at the final story today, and we're actually on time. Yes. Yes, we are. Well, finally today on the big show here at Coffee and Cigarettes for your Tuesday Espresso is what insecure people post on Facebook. Yes. Yes, you know we've got no shortage of news when we've got this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's, George, why don't you, I don't know, tell us about your Shakespeare stuff.
Well, I'm a Shakespeare buff. I went to the Shakespeare Institute at Stratford-upon-Avon in England.
Yeah.
And Shakespeare loved the language. I mean, he used it gloriously and vividly, colorfully. And so, being a Shakespeare buff, I enjoy language too. Mm-hmm. And so I use words that are descriptive, that are specific, and that are that have content.
Yeah, unlike the words I use. Hell, half the time they aren't even words.
Yes.
It's not good. I don't know. Tell me about Bobby again. I want to know about Bobby.
The boys around me were saying things like, Sally is cute, or Monica is hot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I thought Sally and Monica were nice,
yeah.
But who really got me excited was Bobby.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What particularly was exciting was he had blonde forearm hair, and he was tan, that glistened. That's when what caught my eye when I first saw him.
Right.
He had his T-shirt on, but you can see that he had great pectoral T-shirts. And then to see it off and his whole gorgeous body.
Well, yeah, it's quite the hobby you got there, Cat. And I know Gilbert is really, really looking forward to going back down the elevator with you. And actually we do. Do we have? Yeah, we do, don't we? Yeah. Okay. I'll be damned. We actually. Just hang on a sec. We got the of course, the daily email.
Yes.
That we always have, of course, for George here. And do we? Oh, okay. Never mind. No, we don't have it. No, so. I guess the novelty George is worn off.
Yes.
I guess. Yeah. We used to get great emails every day for him.
Yeah.
Now nobody can frickin' bother.
Sex is only the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. True. All right. Well, I guess I'll get to the last damn story, which is what insecure people actually post on Facebook. Yeah. Well, if friends brag about the sweet gestures of their partners on Facebook, they might be inadvertently sharing a thing or two about their personalities at the same time. Yes, researchers at Brunel University in London reviewed the status updates of 555 Facebook users who completed surveys about self-esteem.
Yes.
Self-esteem, narcissism, and the big 5 personality traits, extroversion, neuroticism, openness, agreeableness, and conscientiousness. Perhaps unsurprisingly, they found that those with different personality traits choose to share very different information. Extroverts, for example, frequently write about social events and tend to use Facebook exclusively to socialize. The conscientious people often write about their children, while people with open personalities don't shy away from sharing political views or social itinerary. People with low self-esteem, meanwhile, frequently post about their romantic partners or lack thereof. Yes, people are more likely to post relationship-relevant information on Facebook on days when they feel insecure. So, Gilbert, cut it out.
Yes.
Yeah. Researchers say adding it's reasonable to see the move as a way to claim their relationship. However, those with low self-esteem don't aim for attention or validation so much as narcissists, who were found to share updates about their achievements, as well as their diet and fitness routine, which suggests a deliberate display of energy put into their appearance. Researchers say narcissists who post more and received more likes and comments than others, but it could be that their Facebook friends politely offer support while secretly disliking such egotistical displays, the researchers have said in their press release. Greater awareness of how one's status updates might be perceived by friends could help people to avoid topics that annoy more than they entertain. And as the study was self-reported, narcissists may have inflated the number of likes and comments they received. Yes. And it just stops there. Yeah. And, well, kind of as an addition to this story, but not really.
Yes.
Of course, is the Facebook lies create false memories. Well, no, this is good because I can't tell you how sick and tired I am. Like, I've only got, I don't know, like 500 people, I think, on there.
Yes.
And I don't really pay attention to it except when Kate sticks something to my bloody wall that I got to like.
Yes.
Or you know, when, of course, we're posting the shows.
Yes.
We put our shows out through Facebook and whatnot, but half the time that's not me, so I don't care. And that's the other thing that people don't understand about social media, too, of course, is that, it's usually teams of PR people doing all this stuff, not us.
Yes.
But yeah, but all of these HRH people, the his and her royal highnesses on Facebook.
Yes.
No, I'm serious. Do you know there is more royalty on Facebook than there could have ever been in life anywhere? Do you know that?
They get crazy because all of a sudden nobody loves them.
Yeah,
Yes.
they do. Well, and that's why I don't really hold Facebook as a pound of shit, because it's really not. It's just ridiculous, and everybody's like a superstar on this thing. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, not you, Gilbert. You don't even have one.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't have one. I should make a fake one for you. Call it His Royal Highness Gilbert de Godfried. Yes. And Her Royal Highness George Takei. Yes, you two could be the royals of royalty.
Yes.
And don't be so serious. You know that. Well, anyway, the bottom line is I'm sick and tired of lying on Facebook, and yes, I do it all the time, yeah. No, I'm sick and tired of the fake accounts.
Yes.
I'm sick and tired of the royalty.
Yes.
I'm sick and tired of the advertising.
Yes.
I'm sick and tired of frickin' what's-his-face.
Yes.
Yeah. What the hell is his name? Who cares? I don't know. For some reason, I keep wanting to say Matt Freeberg.
Yes.
Yes, you all know him as the CEO of Facebook, that Matt Freeberg. Yeah. What the hell is his name? Don't tell me. Yeah. No. What is it? Mark Zuckerberg. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Hot damn. That's how we do it downtown.
Yes.
That's right. Well, lying your tushy off on social networks may impress your friends. No. But research suggests that it can also create false memories and disconnect us from our true self. Yes, being competitive and wanting to put our best face forward, seeking support or empathy from our peers, is entirely understandable, says the psychologist Richard Sherry, who helped found the Society for Neuropsychic Analysis of Facebook. Yes, and there is the dark side of such a conformity that is online fibbers may become deeply lost and forget their actual experiences, he says. A new survey by Penn Courage doesn't disagree. It finds that 10% of respondents and 16% of those age 18 to 24 had their recollections distorted after writing about them. Yeah. An earlier Penn Courage survey found that social media lies usually added luster to otherwise ho-hum evenings or made relationships or careers look better. People said they wrote posts out of jealousy and fear of appearing boring. The only study to measure the impact of social media on memory. Well, considered its impact damaging to autobiographical memories, Peter Clayton, the co-founder of Penn Courage, which hosts over 65,000 online diaries, says we're slowly wiping our memories with scattered social media posts and would benefit from diaries. We knew there was a real need for a safe space to preserve and share the true chronicles and lessons of our lives, the ones we actually live and should protect, he says. On the bright side, the study finds that lost memories can actually be restored. We can, of course, we can rebuild him.
Yes.
Yes. $6 million Facebook man. Yes. Oh, wrong one, Jenny. Oh, it's I think it's a Friday for Jenny.
Yes.
Yeah, she needs help. Anyhow, gang, I want to thank you all for listening, of course, today. HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk with myself, the one, the only Louis Lawless, the one, the only Gilbert Gottfried,
yes.
The one, the only George Takei. Thank you, Louis, for being here again today. It was great to have you.
You love to do that kind of stuff. You always did.
What?
And put your name up there and dress in different stuff. So fantastic. If I can be of any help, let me know. So what's the email address?
1, we're on the air. 2, I don't dress up. And 3, I'll give you the email address later. Yeah.
about fucking time. Move on.
All right.
Yes.
Well, Gilbert, as always, thanks again, my friend, for being here. It's been great having you again today.
Thank you for listening and support the show for
the love of God. Yes. And, of course, the one, the only George Takei, thank you again so much for being here, sir. It's been absolutely wonderful having you.
I've enjoyed it thoroughly. It has been a fantastic experience.
All right, thank you.
I think it's a treat to be here talking with you.
That's enough. Don't rub it in. And a reminder to all of you out there in listener land.
Yes.
Yes, listener land out there. Yes, we've got coffee and cigarettes tomorrow, the Wednesday Grinder. Get you through that hump day in style.
Yes.
That's what we'll be doing here tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it. And don't miss Crash Talk tonight. I'm going to be ripping somebody a new one. Yeah, it's going to be good. Trust me, it's going to be good.
Yes.
Anyhow, on behalf of myself, the one, the only Jenny McCartney in the booth, well, I'm going to say Louis Gilbert,
yes.
And, of course, the one, the only George Takei. Thank you for listening. Have yourselves a hell of a nice day, and we will catch you tomorrow.
best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.